So, my God, every week I've been bringing this game up, and
Yeah.
I feel less and less excited about it again. And I'm like, man, what the hell? It's like a roller coaster of like, okay, I'm down, I'm up. IGN posted this. We played it and didn't like it. I did read through this on like a not like word for word, but I skimmed it to like a high level degree. And here's what I got out of it. Everything in this game is exactly what I would have expected kind of this more open world action game to be, with a little bit of disappointment thrown in with this is a Rocksteady game. Rocksteady's done a great job with their Batman games. Really fun action. I thought for Batman games, the story has been really fulfilling. It's hit all the right notes for a Batman game where you expect certain villains to come in. Oh, I think I'm losing bitrate here. I apologize. Hopefully,
I'm seeing some buffering.
yeah, we're getting buffering here.
I was figuring it was me because usually it's Spectrum, but actually
No,
I think
it's me. Actually, it's funny. The bitrate is like it's going from like what it normally should be to like 9,000, and that's usually scary. Sorry, finishing out my thought. Batman games have been great. Like whatever you want to say, the story is what I would have expected from a Batman game. This one apparently has been. The cutscenes and the interactions with the characters seem fun, but once you get out of those cutscenes, the characters seem less interesting. It's action. The action takes some time to get used to, but when you get a build going and you figure out your combos, it can be fulfilling, but it takes a little bit of time to get that going. So that's maybe starting negative, going a positive. Boss fights seem really disappointing in the fact that they're just not what they would have expected a really fun boss fight to be. In the case of Flash, they gave an example of Flash. They're like, I just want to mention that I found this fight incredibly annoying. There's no indication where Flash is most times, and he's the Scarlet Speedster, so he's constantly zipping around the map. Yeah, that's kind of what I would expect, though.
I mean, it's Flash.
Yeah.
That's kind of what he... I mean, look, I get it. That's not fun to fight against, but at the same time, that's kind of what Flash does.
Right.
You know, if Flash is fighting correctly, you'd probably never see him. He would just dash in and out and just keep punching you in the face as he's done dashing in and out. Right?
Here was their justification for their frustration. What they got that, but they're like, I do wish there was a bit of a he's down, get him moment.
Yeah, okay.
Which I agree. I think there should be that.
There should be a mechanic to like slow him down and eventually like stop him, and then
you stun him.
You can wail on him for
exactly.
a while. Like,
but unfortunately, it seems like that trope wasn't used here, and I think that's a case where it should have been. So, WB also sent over some footage of an experienced Shark player wrecking shop. So this is where like you need to start figuring out how to play with the movement and have a good build. And when you do, it's really fun. But when you don't, you're just trying to figure things out. It seems a little bit clunky based on what I read here. Missions tend to favor many of the tried and true types, which makes them feel a bit uninspired. This makes me feel like I'm hearing like the Ubisoft, like, go to this icon kind of thing. You defend a point from waves of enemies that spawn. Sound familiar? That's a very used, like, that sounds like Marvel's Avengers. Marvel's Avengers had the classic, like, here's a point, defend it kind of structure to missions, which I'm okay with that in certain cases, but not used too much. So when the next quest started, I stood there while Amanda Waller called my character on comms and bantered with Ivy before sending me back to the other end of the map to save civilians in a flying bus, looking like it's straight out of Fortnite. At least the Riddler puzzles are making a return from the Arkham games, bringing at least one familiar fun activity to Suicide Squad's Metropolis. It's funny, the Riddler puzzles, I do think a lot of people like those. I liked them too. I didn't do them too much, but I did like when the Riddler puzzles came in. Last note before I pause, the potential saving grace for all my gripes could be that the whole combat system comes together a lot better when you get to sit down and actually make a build, which we didn't have a chance to do right away at the preview event. So they were at a preview event. You're inexperienced. You're not sure what you're doing. You're trying to figure things out. You're going into boss fights that don't really have the mechanics you're expecting, which is like you stun them and then that's when you wail on them, which is it's a common thing to do, but it's also, I like it. I like that idea. It's a very common mechanic to use. And then finally, you're getting like these very familiar but boring open world kind of missions where it's like defend this point, go save some civilians from a bus. This is the Suicide Squad. How do I feel about you just save civilians from a flying bus? This is Suicide Squad. You know, Suicide Squad is supposed to be, they're the villains that are being contracted, they're forced by the government to take out a threat. They're not good characters. I don't see him saving some civilians from a bus. I know that there are some Suicide Squad things where they're like, okay, they kind of like, they're not all evil. They still have like some code. They'll like, they see the impending threat and they'll save people because it makes sense. I don't know if I get the idea of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna run around and save some people from a bus, unless they're literally forced to do it. Like they're like, we'll kill you if you don't save these people. Because that's the whole point of Suicide Squad. It's like the government put like an explosive chip in them or something, or like they're being forced to do this stuff. Because if they don't, they'll die. They'll just be killed. It's like, unless they're being forced to save that bus of people, they're not going to save the bus of people. That's not like, it doesn't make sense. So I'll stop there. They talk a little bit more in detail, but there was one other thing I wanted to add with Suicide Squad, and then I don't know if you had any thoughts. I'll let you jump in on it. Somebody on Twitter showed some video footage, and I pulled the UI of the video footage into a whiteboard.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to draw some things out really fast. I'm not going to go into a whole like Xenoblade adventure like I did before. I'm going to assume this... Wow. Where is my color? Where's my color chooser? Do I get a color chooser anywhere? Any color choosers here? Okay, so I'm assuming that's going to go away. And I'm assuming this stuff is kind of like tutorial. Like, this will go away. So you'll have this part of the screen. But, like, look at this. You have your ammo and stuff down here. You have whatever this thingy is here. Your health bar is up here. This is like probably your boss meter / quest whatever thingy. You have a bunch of stuff like here. This is probably the rest of your party here and a map here. Here's what I'm getting at. Why couldn't this be down here, this be down here, and it be smaller? This is what frustrates me about the UI. You don't need this here. This is a waste of space. This is a waste of space, waste of space. This is fine. Like, this is okay. This is fine. I don't know what this Batman thing is here. This will go away, I imagine. Sure, this is fine. This is like somebody in the design team or the UI team had way too much time, and they just said, let's just take up as much screen as possible for no reason. The Xenoblade thing I talked about, you could argue for sure, and I could. There was definitely a reason why all that stuff was in the UI, like because you have to have your combos and such.
I mean, that game's an RPG.
Reason.
You need a lot of information in RPGs a lot of the time.
I hated on it because I think it took up too much space, but I could definitely argue why you needed space to be used for all that stuff. These two on the top left and right are a complete waste of space. You don't need that up there. You could condense this down. Do you really need this to be so fucking big? You don't. So this is what frustrates me. This is frustrating. It's like charges 0 out of 8. Why does this have to be this big?
I'm trying to think. Anti-flash weapon? Is it like a quest thing? I don't even know.
I don't know. It's very confusing. I couldn't tell if it was or not. If it is, okay. But this is a health bar. Put the health bar down here. Just put it right there under this. That's like a very common thing to do. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Put it down there. It doesn't have to be up here and like take up extra space up there. Put it down here. This is like... This is very frustrating for me. Some of this stuff I could argue. I don't know what the fuck this is. But sure, why not? Put it there. This thingy does not need to be there. I don't know why this is taking up so much space. This is fine. Sure, this is your map. That makes sense to put there. These are tutorial things. I think these go away. your text is here. That's fine. This is
the
great.
suicide, the thing that says like suicide strike, I don't know. That might be like a prompt for like a special ability
Could
that
be.
shows up when you have a special ability.
You're right.
Like,
You're absolutely right. Actually, I apologize. I do think you're right on that one. So
the dialogue and stuff that'll go away.
That'll
That
go
thing
away.
It's like in the middle of the stream +1 whatever. That's like
right.
some quest like, or that's something happening that'll
Right.
go away pretty quickly, I think. So
My last thought on this is I don't think you're playing a shooting game. Okay, it's a third person shooter. I'm just gonna say it's a third person shooter for now. It's an action game, but everybody has a gun. So when you play those shooter games, typically the reticle is right here in the center of the screen. So you got to be careful with like putting shit near the center, because like this is like the sweet spot. When you're playing a shooting game, this is a sweet spot. So I'm not sure I like even like having the data shards deposited up here. Maybe put it away from the sweet spot. Anyway, just to end this out, I'm not super excited about this game anymore. It looks like this better be like, if this is $20, I'll buy it.
is this Gotham Knights round 2?
This is
like,
Gotham Knights. If it's $20, I'll get it. If it's not, I'm not going near it. I'm super disappointed with some of the stuff that I'm seeing. The mechanics of the boss fight, especially with Flash, like he's fast, I get it, but you should have used he's stunned, so he's slowed down, hit him while he's paused. He's tired. It's like, oh, he's tired. Hit him while he's tired. That makes sense. Flash probably gets tired sometimes.
It would make sense for like, again, the mechanics of how you design this, whatever, where like, you set up a trap for him or something like that, right? And then like he steps on the trap and he gets stunned. He gets stunned for like 5 to 10 seconds, and you get to wail on him for a while, and then he goes again, and you have to do that like 3 or 4 times or whatever.
Do you know who some of Flash's main enemies are? Fucking cold. Ice. People who produce ice.
Yeah,
because
people
he
who
slips.
slow his ass down.
Because he slips on the ice. That is an actual villain. There's like a villain whose whole fucking thing is, I'm just going to make this guy slip because Flash is too fast. So that is like what you do. You have to make Flash like go into his own, you have to like exploit his own weakness. That should be the mechanic of the fight. The whole mechanics actually of each fight should just be exploiting each Justice League members' weaknesses, because they all have them. And classically, Batman's the one that's like, I have a contingency for every Justice League member. Here's how you defeat all of them. Superman, use a kryptonite bullet. He'll be completely fucked. Flash, put some ice on the ground. Or put him in an impossible situation where another classic one is, you put like a bomb strapped to his body, and if he ever stops moving, it explodes. So it's like, there's like a classic one where it's like, put him in a situation where he always has to keep running.
Or put him in like an enclosed environment where like his speed doesn't do as much, right? Like a very like...
Yeah, there's like some classic ones they put for him. They're like Green Lantern. His whole power is based on his will. Break his spirit. Make him question himself. Like, there's like contingency protocols for every single member, and Batman like classically came up with all of them. And that's like a lot of villains actually like take his protocols and use them against the Justice League. That should be like the way that the fights work. It's like, oh, we stole Batman's like protocols, so every single Justice League member, in order to kill them, we have to use his own stuff. So that would be great. It doesn't seem like they did that, which is kind of unfortunate. Like the whole thing with Flash is you're supposed to like make him tired and like always keep him moving. It's like you put him in an impossible situation. So it doesn't seem like they're doing that, which I think is really disappointing. I think they should have leveraged that. It just seems like this is like a $20 game to me. This is like Gotham Knights. It's probably going to be like a 6 out of 10. I think for $20, you'll have like a great time just fucking around once you figure out how to play. Outside of that,
But for like $60 or $70, no thanks.
That's too much of a commitment, I think, for me to be invested. I'm guessing that much like Gotham Knights, in like a year, this game will be like $20 to $30, and it'll be fine for that amount of money. So that's all I have to say for Suicide Squad. a lot of the things I'm seeing, I'm not really vibing with. Apparently, Poison Ivy's like a kid, which is fine, but it's like, I don't know, it's a little weird. There's some weird stuff which I'm not sure I really follow as like something I'm interested in. So that's all I have to say personally about Justice League. I know you're not like super following this game, but yeah, this is like,
yeah, again, even if I was interested in it, which I'm not particularly, there's way too many JRPGs come out in February
exactly.
for me to try this.
Yeah, you're not even gonna try it. Okay.
If there was like nothing else out around that time, I might have checked it out, but that is not the case this year. Like,
it's not happening. All right. So sad. I had like a week of being interested in this game. It's really tragic. I got a review here. This is from Open Critic that you posted for Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. 87. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great score. I personally don't have too much to say. I've seen the trailers for it. I think it looks pretty cool for like a.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very straightforward side scroller.
It's a side scrolly Metroidvania type game. Pretty standard like melee combat, explore, get upgrades, which allows you to find other places. There's a demo up for it, at least on the PlayStation store, that you can check out. And some streamers have been playing it. I think there was like early access. I don't know, you have to like pre-order or how that exactly works, but there's been streamers that have been playing the full game this past
interesting
weekend. I think it comes out, it says January 18th, so that's this coming week.
That's this coming week.
So like Wednesday or Thursday, something like that.
Yep. Well, there's like 100 reviews for it already. Wow.
I mean, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
And yeah, I mean, it's reviewed well. The only thing with this is, I mean, it's a Metroidvania. Their games tend to not be that long. This one apparently is around 20 hours, which is like pretty good for that type of game. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Metroid Dread as an example, that game was $60 and it was like 10 to 15 hours maybe. And we talked about that when it came out. That game was really well loved, and I thought it was pretty meh, but that's me.
20 hours is good for a side scroller, I think.
Yeah, it is. And the game looks good. It has voice acting, etc. There's some production value there, but like the thing is, these type of games, Metroidvanias, again, generally they're made like more indie and like smaller studios, but generally they like max out at about $30. Yeah, this is $50. So
50 is
because it's Ubisoft, it's a big publisher, they're gonna, obviously the production value is there, but they're gonna try and charge more for it.
Yep. I mean, the production value is there, I get it, and it seems like it's a good game, so just credit there. For side scrollers like that though, you do generally see about $30. I feel like 40 would be the maximum I would ever see. But usually it's like 30.
They're usually like 20 to 30. They're usually like 20 to 30 in this genre.
I think if you see this for $30, you buy it. If you're interested in this kind of game, $50 is much like Suicide Squad.
It's a little steep.
It's a steep price to pay for what you're getting. That being said, I mean, if you're a fan of like Metroidvania, Prince of Persia, side scroller, right, $50. Sure, why not? I guess.
Seems like it's a pretty good game. Got good reviews, so worth checking out if you're a fan of this genre. Just be aware that it is pretty expensive as far as this genre goes. Though again, Metroid Dread was $60 because it's Nintendo.
It's Nintendo.
Metroid game. Like
it's Nintendo and it's Metroid. Like, yeah, it didn't really matter. Anyway, yeah, I don't have anything else to add. I mean, $50 is a little bit pricey for what you're getting, but seems good other than that. Okay. January 18th, this week, we have a developer direct from Microsoft and Xbox. Let me just throw presented by the game creators themselves. Developer direct offers an in-depth look at upcoming titles. We'll visit Machine Games in Sweden to check on Indiana Jones, Avowed from Obsidian's Irvine offices, Ara History Untold, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 from Ninja Theory. It makes it seem like it's just going to be these, but my assumption is there'll probably be something else besides these. They might have like a little surprise. Shortly after Developer Direct has concluded, ZeniMax Online Studios will host the Elder Scrolls Online global reveal at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Standalone presentation where the development team will unveil the game's next major chapter. So after the Direct, they'll talk about Elder Scrolls Online. So they're highlighting here 4 games: Indiana Jones, Avowed, Ara History Untold, and Hellblade 2. I think there might be like a surprise game they added at the end.
Yeah,
or something
last
like
year there was a Hi-Fi Rush got a shadow drop at last year's Developer Direct, which was, I don't exactly remember when it was, but it was around this time. It might have been February. It was January or February though. It was early in the year last year.
So that could happen. We could just get something either shadow dropped or revealed that's really, really big and surprising. I'm very interested in Avowed. Team Obsidian will share the first deep dive into the gameplay experience fans can expect their upcoming fantasy action RPG. This is the one where we saw at first initially, we're like, oh, this is just Skyrim.
Yep.
So, but probably with a little bit more, maybe with more detail in it. I'm very interested in Avowed.
I know it's not Bethesda. It is Obsidian though.
Obsidian, they've worked with Bethesda before.
Let's hope they don't make the same frickin' game like Bethesda did with Starfield. Like,
yeah, I have faith in Obsidian.
Yeah,
I have faith in them.
No, I mean they made, what was that? The Outer Worlds. That was
Worlds?
their last game.
Obsidian
and then Grounded, which I didn't play, and I didn't think you played either, but was unique and different. Like,
they had Fallout New Vegas. They have Grounded. They have Outer Worlds. I mean, I think they do a good job. I would expect this to play, even if it plays like Skyrim, but with more depth, with certain mechanics like combat in particular. I would trust that would be a popular game.
Yeah.
So the other one that I'm looking at is Ara History Untold. I think we've talked about this one before.
We have.
So this is the 4X game, I believe. That's coming out there.
Historical. I think they're calling it Grand Strategy as opposed to 4X, but
yeah,
that's kind of they're slightly different, but kind of interchangeable.
Yeah, to a certain degree. So those are the two on my radar. I will
same.
Just to end my thought before I jump it over to you. I do think there will be some intrigue with the Indiana Jones game. I do think the greater audience that watches this will be really interested to see what this is. This is coming from the people who made Wolfenstein.
Oh, okay.
So I'm very curious about this one.
Yeah. I mean, could be a good day for Microsoft if all these look good at the and maybe all of them come out this year at some point.
Maybe. That'd be
Ara's
exciting.
been cooking for a while. That game they announced like a year and a half ago at E3 2022.
Right.
And they've had like tactical alphas. They've been doing they have their own YouTube channel. They've been doing like developer diaries and like that kind of thing.
Okay.
I'm kind of expecting either a release date or at least like some sort of like beta or like I'm expecting. I think Ara will be out in the first half of the year. I'll say that. I'm kind of expecting them to give a release date on this one.
I expect, I would expect that.
If not a release date, then like an early access or like a beta or like something like that to like where this game is playable. But we'll see.
So, they also added something I forgot to add. We won't show any updates on games from Activision Blizzard later this year. You can look forward to those. Here's what I think will happen. Indiana Jones game won't get a release date. They'll premiere some gameplay. They'll talk about it. Avowed will get a release date for sure, and it's going to be like
probably in the fall.
Fall. I think fall is fair. are History Untold. I'm actually going to also say Summer to Fall. I don't know if it's going to be first half of this year, but I'll say Summer to Fall for now. For now.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
If it comes out sooner, I don't care. But
my guess would be I don't think it'll be out in like the next couple of months, but my guess would be like spring or summer. I would say spring or summer. So I'm a season earlier than you than I think it's going to be out.
I think that's fair. I don't know much about Hellblade. I don't have any interest.
It's been cooking a while, but
yeah. I would assume this year, maybe later this year. I am uniquely interested in Avowed. I think if I think they make like basically a really flushed out version of Skyrim and they put a bunch of depth into it to more than just like fire. Yeah. I think you're looking at like a really good game that a lot of people are going to be jumping onto. People still play Skyrim. Like, it's crazy. I still see them playing Skyrim consistently, where they're like, I just want to play Skyrim. It is kind of interesting how Skyrim has had this such longevity.
Yeah, no, that game endured the test of time for sure. I mean, I know there's like a ton of mods and stuff like that, but
sure. You know. But like, it's just crazy to see that. So I think Avowed has like this interesting opportunity to like be like, hey, like, you like Skyrim?
The next Skyrim, yeah.
Here's Skyrim. Here's another one that's very much like it.
Also, this isn't here, and I didn't post it either. But Diablo is doing a developer stream next week as well. I think on the same day, actually. I think it's at like noon.
Probably because new season's coming soon.
Yeah, new season. I'm gonna be guessing is gonna be out within the next couple of weeks. To be honest.
Yeah. Not surprised then. Okay. I don't have anything else to add for the developer direct.
Nope.
I think there's some interesting things that are cooking here. Okay. Bunch of crumbs on my table here.
Desk.
Yeah, I got a bunch of crumbs. I'm not sure where they came from. All right, last I've got on the list here is best of 2023 for Steam. I looked at this and I at first I was like, what the fuck is happening? And then I realized it's this year's top games measured by gross revenue. I immediately, this caught my eye immediately. I was like, oh. Interestingly enough, Hogwarts Legacy did make a lot of money this year.
It did. We knew that. I just thought it was interesting that it was in fact in this top list, by the way. Because like you look at games like, okay, Apex Legends, Destiny, Dota, not really surprised that these are big money makers on a year-to-year basis. Hogwarts Legacy being in this particular list is very interesting to me. Gold, I'm not shocked that FIFA's in here. I don't even know what this is, but apparently it's just like a war game. Yeah.
And then Rainbow Six Siege, I'm not surprised that Siege is obviously really popular. Anything in here that really like caught your eye? I'm just curious about.
So scroll back up to the top and go to the new releases tab, or I guess you can actually click it.
Oh my goodness, there you go.
So there's different tabs. There's most played. There was early access. So the thing that caught my eye here is that if you go to new releases and scroll down to gold,
Age of Wonders
is there.
For this year's top new releases measured by gross revenue.
So it's like in the top 10 selling new releases on Steam.
Yeah, on Steam. That's very interesting. That is super interesting.
And I think Octopath Traveler 2 caught the bronze, like near the bottom, which was, cool for me. Or maybe it's in silver. Yeah, it's in silver. There's no bronze on this tier.
Most played. I'm just looking at most played real quick. Finals, over 150,000 peak players. Someone check the Steam charts for the finals right now. I guarantee that while it says this, it ain't close to that anymore. I almost guarantee it's not even close to that. I might look this up.
I'm looking it up right now.
I'm curious. Look this up too.
It's still high.
Damn, it's really high.
86,000.
Wow. Yeah. It's still really high.
This game's popular, man.
I'm surprised. I am surprised how popular this is. I'm genuinely shocked as someone who said we're going to see like in a year and a half this thing closing down. I'm surprised. I'm okay to be wrong too.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at some of these other ones. So over 80,000 peak players. Phasmophobia, That's a really interesting one. Definitely Phasmophobia is interesting there. Over 40,000 peak players. Project Zomboid's that's a game I really like to play. Age of Wonders. Age of Wonders had over 40,000 peak players. I mean, Age of Wonders, this is why it surprises me that it wasn't in the Game Awards. It really had more success than I anticipated given these charts. So I'm happy to see that. Hogwarts sold like 22 million copies. Yeah, 22 million. Yeah, it's insane. The brand power on that, plus the way the game was sold, marketed, I think was really powerful.
To be fair, the game supposedly was like actually pretty good.
Oh, I'm sure it is pretty good. I'm sure
this
it
was
is.
not a broken, like buggy, busted, crappy like Hogwarts
Right.
game. This is like actually a pretty good Harry Potter game they made. There was just a lot of controversy around it because it's a Harry Potter game and J.K. Rowling's a piece of shit.
Right.
So yeah,
you're naturally gonna get that. I'm again, like we talked about Hogwarts, like the game looked actually like it looks fun, looks pretty good. Like obviously it was marketed well to hit all the right notes for like getting the Harry Potter experience. You know, not surprised that it sold that well at all.
Yeah.
But not amazing. Yeah, I mean it wasn't really in the Game Awards at all, which I'm sure made some people big mad.
And it did make some people big mad.
Be like, where's Hogwarts Legacy? It's like, sorry guys. I mean, sorry. I'm sure it was a good game, but wasn't great apparently. I think that's really interesting for the Age of Wonder stuff and all that. So
yeah,
cool.
Again, for me, this was just like I was happy to see Age of Wonders like actually did quite well. This year.
Definitely. That's good to see. I'm just jumping real quick. Yeah, Octopath Traveler 2. Just looking. Okay. Cool. Any other thoughts on the best of 2023?
No, I mean nothing too unexpected here. All the most popular stuff is like at the top, and freaking FIFA.
No, keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. Sea of Stars, yeah.
On Steam Deck, you can play it on your Steam Deck.
Interesting.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Let's swap over. 2cam.